Hey there, welcome to LearnPianoLive.com. This is an advanced lesson. So this is for students who are known by their friends as a pianist. You've got hopefully some knowledge of chords, maybe some sheet music reading, some sight reading skills. You know chords. You've been playing enough to impress almost all of your friends with your piano skills. So if that's you, you're in the right place. If you're in the lesson and it feels way too advanced, you might want to go check out yesterday's lesson, the intermediate version of this week's topic, or the lesson before that, the beginner's lesson, because those will break down the same concepts, only easier. So, but if you are an advanced student, then ask away. No question is too advanced or too obscure. So this is just all about you. You got to ask me the questions so I know what to answer and know how to help you out best. There's a couple other things I want to talk to you about too before this countdown clock gets to 0. All right, first and most important, ask a lot of questions. The way that you're going to do that is there's a couple different ways. You can jump in the chat room and talk with the other students who are logged in at the same time. I'll be watching the chat room too. You ask your questions there, or if it's a question that's just for me, a question about the lesson, especially if you know it's one that's going to fit best at the question and answer time at the end, then you just put your name and your question in the box below this video, click submit, and then I will get that. Now, if you're already in the archives, if you're watching this not live, but you're watching this in the archives, then make sure at the end of the lesson you click on the survey button. You don't have to fill out the entire survey. If you want to, I mean, I'd love your feedback, but really the best part of that is that you can put your question in there, and then we click submit. Then I will get all of your questions. I'll make sure that you get them answered, whether you're in the archives or you're live. Right next to this video, there should be a PDF button and an MP3 button. Now, you don't really need those till after the lesson because I'm going to be showing you on screen the PDF and showing you how to use it. And I'll play the MP3 during the lesson too, so you know at the end of the lesson how you're going to use that. Some people, though, like to print out the PDF ahead of time, so as I'm making notes on my version, they can make the same notes on their version, but it works either way. All right, this is perhaps the most important part. You need to leave the lesson when you feel like you're sufficiently challenged. So, I'm teaching these lessons, 12 to 15 lessons a month. Normally, in traditional lessons, you're getting like a lesson every other week or so. So this is just way too much for you to take in. So, the goal is for you to get some little nugget of something that you can really practice on, really work on. Once you feel like you have that, then you really don't need anything else from me. Go practice. That's where this stuff is really going to happen. You're not going to get through this lesson and be able to play something really well. You're going to get through this lesson and have the information that you need to practice more effectively. That's really the goal here. So don't feel bad about taking off early. If you feel like halfway through the lesson you got as much as you can take in at that time, then go practice that thing, and then come back whenever you've got that thing down, or you're bored with it, or you just want to check out the next topic. Don't forget also that you've got the archives too. So if you want to see one little thing, just repeat it over and over and over. Just give me, hopefully within 24 hours after the lesson, this thing will be up in the archives, so you can just go back and watch it over and over and over and over and just get that little segment down. All right, today we're doing everybody's favorite topic. Out of the 8 sectors of musicianship, the one that everybody always likes the most is application. That's where you finally actually get to play a song. So if you've been here for the last couple weeks, you'll notice a lot of the same concepts popping up today, because we're going to take those concepts, we're going to apply them to a very specific song. If you haven't been here, don't worry about it. I'll show you how to play all of our little concepts. So hopefully at the end of today's lesson, you'll have all the tools to practice an actual real song that you can play for your friends and impress them. Let's go. Welcome back. Let's cover this thing. Yes, we've got Murder to the Mind, which is 2 chords. We talked yesterday about the theory of it, why it's put together the way it is, and what is predictable and what's not so predictable about it. And then we talked the day before about how to play each of the notes for both the melody and for the chords. So today we're just talking about what we could do to change things around to make this I don't want to say more interesting, because that makes it sound like it's not interesting, but to change it and make it unique and your own version of it. So let's talk about that. If you got your PDF open, then you'll see here we've got a lot of open space here to talk. So first thing is time signature change. That's one of the most significant changes you can make to this or most any song to really change it up a lot. You can change the key of a song, but for most listeners, and except for the 1 in 10,000 people that have perfect pitch, that's not really going to make much of a difference. There is a guy that I just saw on YouTube who his thing is doing taking major songs and putting them in minor keys. And that makes a pretty significant difference. But that's really changing a lot of the notes of the melody and the chords, and you're changing up a whole lot of stuff there. But actually just changing the key, taking this thing from, F minor and C minor, taking it to G minor and D minor, which would be in a different key, that's not going to really make it sound that much different, even though in that context, the way I just played it does. So the original song would be something like... play that in the key of G, it's going to sound almost exactly the same. Give you a fresh palette here. So this is not the key of G, or I'm just trying to change. So here we go. Now here's our song in the key of G minor. So that probably sounds almost exactly the same as that thing that I played a second ago. Maybe it sounds slightly higher, but that's it. So changing the key really doesn't do a whole lot. But time signature change, that would really make this an entirely different song. So if we take this song, which is 4/4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Take it, maybe change it into a 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Which arguably kind of has a 6/8 feel to it, since the song is so symmetrical. So that wasn't extremely 3/4-ish. So that'd be more 3/4-ish, but yeah, 6/8 then. What else could we do here? For 6/8, if we want to change it into 6/8, we could go. Yes, it ends up just feeling like that first 3/4 thing I did. Okay, so 6/8, 3/4. So just changing it from a multiple of 2 to a multiple of 3 would make a significant difference there. And then tempo changes is another thing you can do that will significantly alter a song. So if we keep it in 4/4, I'm going to go back to 4/4, but just show you some of the options for tempo changes. So this is one of the easiest things to do and really changes a song up a lot. The way that I ran into this the most was I listen to all my podcasts I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to all of them at double speed. And some of them are also radio broadcasts that have bumper music. The music comes in the beginning and the end. Most of the songs I've never heard of because, as a lot of you know, I don't know a lot of songs unless it's really old-timey jazz stuff. I just don't know a lot of pop or rock songs in general. So I'm just not familiar with them. And so I hear most
pop music on my podcast at double speed, and it sounds like a song. Like, it just sounds like a thing. And then occasionally, for my phone resets or whatever, and I'll have to like listen for a second before I remember to switch to double speed. I'll hear it for a second at normal speed. I'm like, whoa, this song is crazy slow. This sounds terrible. And I realized like that's what made the song popular, was it at that speed. But the only speed I know it at is this other cool speed, this double speed. So that got me thinking, like, well, I could take any song and just double the speed, and at first it's just going to sound insane. But if that was the song, if it was just written like that, then it might be a really popular song like that. So I started experimenting more wildly with the tempo changes on a lot of songs and found that you can double them, and they don't sound like the original song really at all. But it doesn't sound like a bad thing. So if we take this tempo, the song here goes, hopefully I can do this without having YouTube and Twitch delete this video, but this video here is about that tempo right there. By the way, this is Tosh Sultana, which I'm pretty sure I butchered her name, but at least this week, it was today, I got that in. So which, by the way, I didn't include this, also got me thinking, if I like this song at this speed and it's really popular at half that speed, then if you took a song that was popular that people like and you take that to half speed, then that might also be like a separate thing. It would just be a really slower version of the same thing. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad just because the first time you hear it and you go, oh, that doesn't sound at all like the original song. That's the whole point. So for me at this point, whatever tempo the song is at, I'm going to try it up to twice as fast or down to half as fast, and like at least cognitively, I know there's potential that this thing sounds really good, even though it doesn't sound good to me. Okay, cool. So tempo variations, maybe try varying them more wildly than you would assume sounds good. So here's our tempo right here. So if we go a lot faster, so like something in that would feel a little bit frantic, and it feels fast to me because I've been listening to this at the normal speed. But that could definitely be a thing, especially like if you put like some samba beat or something behind that. That could be a totally wicked Latin thing there. So that would be a lot faster. And then if we take it way down, that would be like totally like a smooth jazz radio station kind of tune there. So anyway, tempo changes. I'm going to say faster than you would expect and slower than you would expect. Don't just take the tempo and like, what if we did a little faster? Just try way faster. It might sound great. So then voicing on this thing. So her voicing includes a lot of twos. And because it's looped, then it's pretty much entirely that. And so it's got some minor 7 stuff in there from the F. There's also got some 2 stuff in there for some nice dissonance between like the 2 and the 3 of the chord. But then it's looped, and so the voicings don't really change much. By default, I'm doing these like A, B voicing things with still trying to get that 2 in there in the left hand here between the right hand and left hand, 2 and 3 of the chord. But because it gets looped so much, and variation helps a lot in looping stuff. So if you've got the same chords over and over, you want to change some of the voicing and some of the instrumentation and stuff as you go, so it doesn't sound like literally the exact same thing repeatedly. Then you could do a lot of different stuff. And I tend to, on this song, especially because it kind of has a modal feel to it a little bit. And I'm not going to just explain what that means today either. Sorry, unless I get a lot of questions about it. But we'll just let it go for right now and say with this type of tune, it's pretty easy to put almost any chord from the scale on top of whatever's down here. So on the F chord, like an F minor works, cool, no problem. But also like a G minor could work. This one is cheating because that's actually in the F chord. That one could work, B flat. So I'm taking all of these out of the E flat major scale, which we talked about yesterday, why I'm using the E flat scale instead of the A flat scale or the F minor scale. Those all are going to sound really good over that F. So you can pretty much play anything inside the scale. It's going to sound way less terrible than it would if you just picked random chords out of the scale for most other songs. Then same thing for this C. Like these all are going to sound pretty decent. So that's where I'm getting away with like the stuff where I'm going like... All that stuff is just sequenced little... whatever you would call that, a little like neighbor tone or something. Because all of the notes work pretty much all the time. So voicing on this is really super duper open. Kind of fits in during any part of that. So, and of course, that's what I would lean more towards, given the types of voicings that I enjoy hearing. I like a lot of that dissonance stuff in there, a lot of clustery. Like that's the whole scale right there. All this is just I'm just smashing notes out of the scale, and I'm not hating most of it. Okay, cool. So that's voicing. Super duper open on this song. As long as you stay inside the scale, it's hard to find something that sounds terrible. And if you find something that sounds terrible, then don't play it. Then would be my recommendation as a professional piano teacher. Don't play terrible sounding stuff. Okay, this is usually where we get into a lot of substitution stuff, but today, because we're doing a lot of modal things, we're not going to, the modal reharmonization tools are not, in my experience, a lot of the same tools that we would use for like the pop tunes that we do, or tunes that have more chords in them, more chord movements, because part of what makes that interesting, in my experience, is that you've got the expectation of some movement into a new chord, and the expectation on this is to not move into a new chord. It's just a different bass note, and it's still the same scale. So I would not reharmonize a lot of stuff in here. I would just play around with what kind of voicings could I use, what kind of interesting harmonies could I create in here. But all of the same tools still apply. I mean, you can try a lot of this stuff. So, for example, if we're going back to this chord right here. If you treat this, let's say like the 2 chord in the key of E flat, then right before the 2 chord, you could play the 6th chord that was major. That's a secondary dominant, and one of the tools that we frequently use. So this is just one example here real quick before we get to your questions. So the C minor, we're playing a C minor, but then we're going to an F minor. So before we get to the F minor, we could throw in a C dominant, or even a C dominant flat 9. Dominant, flat 9 to the F. So then we could have to my ear, that just sounds like too pretty. Like, it sounds like a convincing move. Like, it would work, except that, like, the whole thing of this song is, it's in my ear. Again, like, it's just that repetition and staying inside of that scale and finding new creative ways to deal with that scale and the harmonies there. And this thing right here, just having that one in there, maybe I'm just not trying hard enough. Yeah, maybe like on that faster Latin thing that we talked about earlier, like it would fit in better there. But otherwise, that chord just like sounds too pretty. And I think we're gonna run into the same exact thing with the rest of these reharmonization tools. Is they're gonna create really nice harmonies, which is right there in the title, reharmonization tools. So the harmonies should be taken right out of the scale, I think. Unless you cover it differently and you send me a link, and then, then I'll admit that I'm wrong, and I will promote your video to the rest of the world or something. Maybe not. I probably shouldn't promise that. So, but if you do find something that you like a whole lot, then you send it along, and let me know if you're asking for my comments on that or if you're just sharing it, so that if you're just sharing something, I don't accidentally send you back, try a flat 9 on that one chord when you're like, dude, I was just wanting you to say good job. Then I'll just say good job. Okay, cool. So then, all of our wrap-up stuff has to do with time signatures and how that vastly changes the feel of the song. That is the feel of the song. It's the whole base of the whole thing is, what is the feel going to be? What's the time signature? Cool. So then also we've got tempo changes. So we talked about why you could significantly increase or decrease the tempo, not just bump it up or down 10 beats per minute and then try it slightly. Here's a slightly faster version of the song. You might come up with a different, entirely different, awesome song that's twice the speed of the original or half the speed. Cool. For voicings, we said that you pretty much anything inside of the E flat scale on either one of those, you just can smash any of those. Getting a little bit ridiculous there, but it still was not necessarily wrong if it was like your 4th or 5th time through the tune and you'd slowly been growing the polyphony of all of your chords and stuff. Cool. So we talked about voicing, and then we talked about why on this one really we wouldn't do the normal reharmonization stuff that we'll probably hit on whatever our next song is in 2 weeks. And so that is all of that. Let's hit your questions. Primarily, I'm hitting the questions that are submitted on the website, but I'll try to get our other streaming platforms as well. So Let me check. Twitch. Okay, cool. And YouTube. Nice. All right. Hello, Carolyn and Tigger. Okay, then. Question number 1. What is the point of changing a time signature in a cover? So, the point of changing a time signature in a cover is to drastically change the feel of the song. This is assuming that you're trying to not just like recreate the original feel of the song. Like the most recent cover I did of Believer, the goal was like, how do I make on piano what they did with a whole band? So how do I take this instrument and turn that into something I could do? How do I take this instrument and turn that into something I could do on the piano? So that was just like trying to recreate the thing, and it ends up not sounding the same at all because I'm just a piano and that's a whole band, but the goal is mimicking their sound. So this would be the opposite of that. If you're trying to mimic their sound, do not change the time signature. Don't change any of this. Don't change the tempo. None of that stuff. But it's only for a song where I want to do this song, but I want to like see how it feels in an entirely different context. So take their idea and do my own thing with it. Then changing the time signature really helps for that. But it really destroys it if you're trying to recreate the song. So if to you, covering a song means recreating that song note for note as much as possible, then don't change the time signature. Okay, question number 2. Where is your cover of this song? I don't have one. No, I don't have one. So I guess whatever you heard me play right now was the ideas. The goal of this is to kind of give you ideas of what you can do with songs and what the context of the songs are. But no, I have not covered this one. Sorry, Tosh, Sultana, and whoever submitted that question. Yeah, I don't have one. If I was gonna cover it, I probably would go with that slower thing. I really liked that. I would try to not play that note. And I would do a lot of the all that stuff. I really like the sequencing of the thirds there. Maybe of sixth too. Something like that. Maybe some sixths in there. And then maybe like some of the so what voicings and stuff. Like on the thicker parts. Those are the ones that I would choose, and I probably would not change the time signature of it. But I think I might have just wrecked the whole lesson then, because the whole point is like me trying to show you what options you could go into, and I told you what the right answers are, which aren't the right answers. Don't do what I would do. Do what you would do. Do what sounds cool to you. Actually, it looks like that is the last question of the day. Is an apology from me for not covering this song, and then a further apology from me for telling you what I would do. So on those apologies, then I guess it's time for me to remind you that I love you all. And until next time, good luck. Have fun.